Oh yeah, Matt. By the way, my who scored thing didn't load before we left.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to look at it?
No.
Mason Mount was a 7-3.
And that's
7-4.
that's why we have trust issues.
Just before we go on, just let me share this, just so that we're all on the same page with how terrible it is. Mendy 5.92. He had a couple
Generous.
saves.
Reese 7-4. That's what I would expect. I thought that he was our best player. RLC, how is he a 7-2?
How is Gallagher in the top half? Gallagher looked like he had never played in the Premier League before.
How is Raz a 6-1?
I thought Raz was our most creative player.
Yeah, easily. Also, Matt, you asked who was on the bench. Ampadu could have done something. But throw Cho out there. What's the worst with him? Yeah, and Chumbawamba.
Chukwuemeka.
Yemi Baki Yoko Oyo Samina Mina Edward Mende Samina Mina Sam Sadate. He comes from Senegal.
And I think going out and get Saul was the top transfer of the market for Chelsea.
Chesney could have been in the shower smoking a cigarette like he was at Arsenal, and we still would not have scored.
My rants have been fueled by Scott. Don't get it twisted.
Big Rom. Man, fuck you.
In Roman we trust, right?
You and me are going to have a battle royale about Jorginho and diving.
The flag stays down!
Welcome to the Flag Stays Down podcast. Thank you for those of you who are tuning in on Twitch. Feel free to use that chat. If you got any questions, comments, concerns you want us to address during this week's pod, because as we were saying in our group chat, this one's probably going to go off the rails a little bit. If you're listening to the podcast, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. Tonight you've got me, Andy. You can follow me at Comiskey North. You've got the Minnesota Messi, Parker, DJ Parkour. And finally, you've got a man who I think we can all agree has better decision-making ability than Edward Mendy. You got Matt at Matus Lee. Parker, how you doing?
Questionable on the Edward Mendy comment, but well played, Collins. Pros, it's good to see you. It's good to be recording a live podcast again after our collective vacations and being kind of across the country. But the obvious con and the elephant in the room is what we had to endure together and watch. So as good as I can be, man. It's been that was a tough match today. Not a fun one to watch and be a part of. So yeah, that was a hard one to watch, but overall fine. How are you, Matt?
It's good to see everybody again. Collins, obviously saw you this morning. The highlight of my day. It's kind of split right now. It was either hanging out with your son Aiden and getting to know what his favorite place to play on the baseball field, or cutting my grass. I'm not really sure like which one takes the cake after today, but yeah, that's just kind of been the day. Rough game. Not a lot to go on, but a lot to talk about. So we're here. Boys are back. It's good to be back. Collins?
I think a good way to sum it up and hold this up to the mic here is
I'm sick of our vocals.
just leave it at that.
Cheers.
That's very fair.
All right. Well, we are on episode 3 of the season here. So, if we're going off of current players, that's Marcus Alonso. He scores, he concedes. Not really a whole lot else to say about that. So maybe this is the Ashley Cole episode.
Yeah,
And
I'm a lot happier about that one.
He's the first player that comes to mind when you think of the number 3. So that's exactly what I was going to say.
all right. Well, that was a nice, easy one. No need to debate that, right? All right. On tonight's episode, we're going to ask ourselves some hard hitting questions. Where's Kai with the good hair? Mason Mount, was he on the pitch? What are we going to do in the looming left wing back battle? And finally, what solves our issues? Kind of vague one to close it out there. That's where I think we're going to derail, but future callback. All right, let's start with Kai Havertz. I start with an easy one. Man, paid quite a bit of money for him. He's been, he scored the Champions League goal against City there. He's had his highs, he's had his lows. Seems to have been on a low for a little while now, and kind of non-existent to start the season here. What's wrong with Kai? What are you guys seeing out of Kai Havertz?
I'll start off with a banger. He misses Rom. He doesn't have anybody else to go against. Like, the job is his. He has no competition. He's got Michi, and that is it. I love Michi as much as the next person. It's been very well documented how much I'm a fan of Michi. But it's Kai's position, and he doesn't really have a challenge. I liked what I saw out of him at the end of the Tottenham game, right? We got angry Kai. That's a lot of fun to watch when you see him battling against Everton and Yuri Mina. Like, that's the kind of player that we need, not whatever he was attempting to do today. He has no competition, and therefore it almost seems like he doesn't really have a reason to try and impress, where last year he had Rom kind of split in time or whatever, but we all know what happened with Rom, and Kai stepped up. But now it's like the position's his. He knows that he's going to be that number 9, so he's just kind of doing whatever he wants to do. And unfortunately, he is not doing anything well at all.
Yeah, my frustration with Kai has grown over time. It comes down to the lack of production, the lack of numbers, the lack of goals and assists, and he just lacks that killer instinct. And he's always step late, I guess, or he's that lack of decision in the final third, and he just doesn't pull the trigger first time when he should. He doesn't make the pass when he should. He's always kind of just that half step late, and leads to a shot getting blocked or a shot going wide or a shot something else happening. And it's just always something. There's always that excuse, and we need someone who puts the ball in the back of the net against the odds. And that's what I was thinking about today when I was watching this match. It's like the 59th minute, we're down 2-0. I'm thinking to myself, like, the way we get back into this is we have to have like one of those over the top balls where he controls it down and either like feeds somebody, or just that like clean strike goal where it's just like a quick hitter. It's not a build up attack. It's just that like ball over the top. Kai takes it once, first time, just drills it. We needed a goal like that to get ourselves back in the game, because that's something you can like build off of from a momentum standpoint. And I said to myself, it's not happening. Like we don't have that. We don't have that guy. You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. We don't have that guy. It just feels like that we're missing the dude with the killer instinct. We're missing that Eden Hazard type dude who can get a goal out of nothing and bring the team back, because we had a lot of positive momentum in this match. And, we didn't play horribly for the first half. Stuff happened, but we didn't play horribly. We could have gotten ourselves back in the match. We scored 2 goals against Tottenham. We can score 2 goals against Leeds, right? Like, possible. And it just, with Kai up there, my confidence that we can make something happen just is pretty much non-existent. Now, I reserve the doubt because we've seen what Kai in form looks like, and we can praise him, and we have praised him when it happens. I don't know how to get us back there. I don't know what we need to do to unlock that, because it's turning into like we saw a flash and that's it from him. And we've had a good enough sample size of him playing up top for me to say it's not working.
I gotta tread lightly here, because so many things that you said are making me like go off in different ways, and I'm trying to keep it on topic here. Yeah, the issue for me is part on Kai, part on Tuchel. And again, I don't want to get too much into that. I'll derail pod after dark. But Kai Havertz has been playing out of position basically since Frank left. You know, he's not a 9. He's got the body for it, but that doesn't make him a 9. And then we go and we sell our strikers. We sell over the course of a couple of years Giroud, Tammy, Timo Werner ish, and then Lukaku. So now it's just Kai. I was thinking that today as we were watching the match. You know, yeah, Kai's the 9, but who else are you going to put there? There's no one. There's no one to put there. So yeah, Matt, like you said, you know, it might be a competition issue. Might be something like that. But at the same time, Kai is too inconsistent in his decision making. And we see this across the board. It's not just Kai, but too much hesitation, too much, you know, trying to figure out what the perfect pass, the perfect shot, the perfect anything is. And by the time we figure it out, the shot is blocked, or, you know, we've had the ball nicked off us or something like that. And Kai does it a lot. And so, you know, he's got 12 league goals in 59 matches at Chelsea. That's not a striker's number. But, you know, at the same time, playing out of position, something has to change. I have faith that Kai can be the talent that we think he can be, but I think he needs to be playing in his position. I don't think there's a quick fix, but I think it's you know, just like us when we played volleyball. You know, play out of position, you're not going to be at your best. You know, there's a learning curve, and at some point, you kind of just hit a ceiling, and you know, you don't progress any further in that position. I think Kai's hit that. So I hate to kind of leave that just kind of on a down point there, but I don't see a better outcome.
Where he fits in our system, even like I think we'd have to change systems to make, you know, to kind of unlock where he would be, because I mean, you swap him for Mace and I don't think he does any better. You swap him for, you know, we tried him on the left wing, we tried him on the right wing. In that system, it just doesn't seem to work. So I think it's kind of that personnel meets system, you know, that's where we're struggling with him.
We had the same issue with Timo, and I think him and Timo are very similar players. I think they both play off of a central striker. I think they're both that number 10, but we don't have a number 10 in our system. So yeah, it is what it is.
It's just rough. That's really the only way to describe it right now. It's just rough. We have a bunch of different pieces. We think we know where they fit, but do they really fit there? Yeah, still a lot of questions despite having mostly the same team from last year, which is frustrating.
And not to get too far into this, but that's a great point, Matt, is there's a lot of people playing out of position, a lot. And at a club the size of Chelsea, why? What is the purpose of that? But anywho, talking.
I don't get paid enough to answer those questions.
Maybe a director of football can solve that.
One can hope.
But let's go from one non-existent attacker to another. Mason Mount.
Who?
Was he out there today? The only time I saw him was on terrible corners. what is he another guy just playing out of position, or what? What are we what are we missing here with Mace? Because he is another guy who Chelsea has relied on, England have relied on, and last year he had great stats. He was a good stats guy. I liked it, but he wasn't consistent match to match. And I think this year we're seeing some more inconsistencies. What are we seeing out of Mace?
I need a performance to grade to give you an accurate reflection of that comment, because he very much was non-existent, and I don't know why or how. And he had one shot on target. He had probably our only shot on target for a while, which was kind of a weak left-footed effort that was between the legs of a couple defenders and saved relatively easily. He just didn't show up and didn't get on the ball and didn't find a way into it. And so that was just like it's a very frustrating match for me to watch from his perspective, because it just seemed like he wasn't a part of it. And I think, like, when I watch Raheem Sterling, Raz looks like he's energetic to want to get on the ball and want to make something happen. And he tracks back all the way to just try to make something happen every once in a while. Raz made a lot of good runs. And I didn't see anything close to that from Ace today. And then there's obviously the corners issue, which needs to get fixed. He found Koulibaly, who headed it goalwards. That was his one decent one. But aside from that, it was pretty piss poor again. So still need that to figure out. We'll talk about that until it gets fixed. Mark my words on that. But yeah, I just don't know. I don't know what to say, because he wasn't involved. At least we can grade Kai and kind of shit on him because he sucked. Like, Mace didn't do anything for me to say that he sucked. He sucked that he didn't get a part of the game.
I don't even know at this point. Like, Mason is doing kind of what we now expect out of him, right? Like, when he was under Frank, yeah, he was the savior, right? He was, in that, at the time, the same pedigree as Eden Hazard, which I think is still very ambitious of anybody to say at that point, but he was still our go-to person. Last year, we saw the inconsistency come to play. This year, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if that's a system thing or what he's trying to do, but he is just not taking control of the game like he used to. And I don't know why. We've seen the good that can happen when he does do that, and he's just not doing it right now. And I don't get it. Because he's got all the talent in the world, but the fact that he shows up in some games and then other games, you're wondering if he even got a touch, right? Like, it's, if you're going to be touted as, one of England's best young players, you have to get out there and you have to be at the forefront of a lot of things that are happening. And right now he's just not. And I don't know what it is to fix it, but I would almost put him on the bench right now and let him figure out some things and then go from there.
He's another guy that I wonder, is he out of position? We tend to play him on the right a whole lot. And he doesn't have the pace to play out on the wing. His distribution it's better than a lot of players on the team, but not, I wouldn't call it exceptional. His runs aren't great. What he does well is what Frank Lampard did, is make that late run into the box. He's not a guy who's going to lead the attack. And you look at some of his heat, the heat charts for the games. At least I've been looking at this year's. I haven't looked back to last year's. But Mason Mount is consistently our most forward player. Like, you look at where where the players are on average on the pitch, and Mason Mount is always the most furthest forward. I don't like that. I don't know why we're electing for that. But again, maybe it's because we sold all of our strikers over the last 3 years. I don't like it. Mace, I think, has the potential. He has the talent, and last year I was saying, dude, mainly due to the stats, like he can do it. And I still believe that. But I think he's another guy who is a number 10. And so why are we playing him out on a wing? Why are we playing him, as a false 9 at times? It doesn't make sense to me. I'm going to leave it there because I'm about to go off on a rant. But it's Tuchel with round pegs trying to put him into square holes, and it's unnecessary.
Feels like we have too many of one thing and not enough of like anything else. We've got all of these guys who would thrive in a certain system or in that more central role, because like to your point, Collins, I don't think he needs to be out on the wings. I think he needs to be like distributing through the mid, like an attacking midfielder would be. And I want him in the middle. I want him to be able to get the ball on his right foot. He had a shot against Tottenham that he skied, but it was one that everyone in the planet thought he was going to just bury against Tottenham, where he took one step and it was just, primed it for him to just drill it, and unfortunately missed. But he needs to get those situations more consistently where, it's just a one touch and be able to shoot and get something on target. That's where I think he's going to be most successful. We have Reece James to cross the ball. We have Cucurella to cross the ball. We don't need Mace, bombing down the flanks to get balls into the box to no one. We need him to be able to convert some of those balls in the box as scoring potentials. So
when I think of the stereotypical Mason Mount, either goal or goal creation, I think of when we watched that preseason game against Club America. Remember his goal in that game, the curler from the top of the box? That's what I think of when I think of Mason Mount. Not the guy pushing forward, pushing the attack forward. I think of the guy floating around the top of the box. I think that's where he's at his best, and probably where Kai's at his best too. But we don't have the personnel up front to allow for these guys to be played in the right position. Which leads me to my follow-up question here. We've talked about 2 struggling attackers. Lord knows we have plenty more. Who plays as your number 9 next week against Leicester?
The quick, easy reactionary answer is Broja. Get someone out, get someone new, just someone different, someone with someone who can compete for the job. Like you said, Matt, give Kai some pressure. I don't even know, when I was looking at the lineups at the beginning of the game today, it had us with like 2 strikers, it kind of like in a 3-5-2. So I don't even know how we line up sometimes. It always kind of baffles me a little bit, but because we were able to free form and kind of go wherever sometimes. But I think if you put Broja up there as a true number 9 to take some of the pressure off some of the people, make some runs, draw some attention, it frees some stuff up. I know that didn't necessarily work beautifully with Rom last year. So I say this carefully because I know that it's not like the perfect solution to our problems is having a big body up there, but give the kid a chance. And I think right now we have to figure out what our best 11 is. And right now, I don't think we have a fucking clue what that is. I'll tell you what, it's not what we put out there today to start, because I don't think Loftus-Cheek as a right wing back makes a lot of sense. And I don't think Kai as our striker makes a lot of sense. And there needs to be some forming of what that lineup looks like. And I hope Tuchel's open-minded enough to bend it and meld it a little bit around his players and not be as rigid as we saw him last year, because we need a change. We need something different.
Reece James.
Great idea. Marcus Alonso.
No, Alonso's not quick enough. Reece James. clinical finisher, strong body. Send him up there.
Yeah, I mean, he can't do any worse than what we got right now. I think Broja's still out injured. I think, but he's leading our poll on the topic right now with over 50% of the vote here. I personally, man, but I don't want to see Michy Batshuayi, but I do want to see Michy Batshuayi. So I'm going to go Raheem Sterling. I liked it against Everton. I liked him as that false nine, getting as many touches centrally as he could. It seemed to flow a little bit better than the last two matches have. Yeah, I'm going Sterling, but I think unfortunately it's probably going to be Michy.
Oh,
Give him a
Christian.
chance. You're talking about the man that secured the winning goal for the Champions League or for the Premier League title in 2016. That Michy Batshuayi.
Yeah, what was that? One of
You
his
put some respect on
30
his
goals
name.
in the last 7 years.
You put some respect on his name, and then when he went to Dortmund, he had 5 goals in like his first 2 games.
And then no more after that.
Hey, doesn't matter. Put some respect on the Batman.
The Mason Mount effect, we'll call it
Yes, I can live
Flash
with
in the pan.
that. Thank you. All right, well, let's turn to what should be hopefully a little bit more positive topic here, because there seems to be a nice little battle brewing. Ben Chilwell still kind of coming back from injury. You know, he made his first appearance in however long against Wolves to end the season last year. Then now this year he has, I believe, started and then came off the bench. Is that right? Yeah. Today made another substitute appearance. But we also got Mark Cucurella, who is looking impressive down that left side as well. You know, we Parker, you had mentioned on a previous pod that, you know, how in an ideal world do you get both these guys on the pitch? Like, what does this look like? Like, they're both talented. They both cost about the same amount of money. How do you guys, you know, see this battle brewing? Because we sure as hell aren't going to see Marcus Alonso again.
I still hold Chilwell above Cucurella. I still do. I just think that he's a little bit more proven than Cucurella, playing with Leicester, and then obviously with Chelsea, and you know, he beat out, you know, Collins, your favorite player on the team, for not much longer, Marcus Alonso, frosted tips and all, beat him out, and you know, he showed what he can do, and then he had that injury. I don't necessarily think that there's really a battle over the two of them. I optimistically like to think that Tuchel is being responsible with Chilwell and just making sure that he doesn't give him all these games right away, too quick. Like, obviously, I know that, you know, he's gone through preseason and all that stuff, but still, you don't want to bombard him after coming off an injury like that. So I think it's still Chilwell's position. I think it's just being monitored a little bit more carefully than what we're seeing right now.
And when Chilwell came in, where did he play? Because Cucurella was still out there, right?
I think Cucurella moved a little bit forward, like into the midfield.
Gotcha. I don't remember, and I was a little bit checked out emotionally at that stage in the game. I started to do dishes and watch the game because I was like, "Fuck this! It's terrible." But you know, Matt, I disagree. I think right now, today, I think Cucurella is the preferred option until Chills gets back into the form that we saw him. It's kind of like, until he can prove that he's back, I think it's Cucurella's job, because Cucurella's come in and he's done a pretty great job from my perspective of being good on the ball, being a decent defender, and being able to distribute out from pressure. He's one of the bright spots of the team for me in the first 3 matches. So until Chills works his way back into the lineup, and we won't really know this until midseason, and it's kind of that like big important knockout game, and we have a full healthy squad, and who do we pick? But today I think it's Cucurella. Now I do think that there's ways that we can work them both on the pitch at the same time. I think they're both extremely talented, and we need help defending, and if both can defend, I don't think that's a bad thing, especially considering some of the struggles that like Koulibaly had today, where in a match where we might lack a little bit of pace, having 2 quicker guys might be an option there instead of just Koulibaly being like the big brute. But yeah, I don't know. I hope we can find a way to make that work. I just don't think we have 2 guys at the same position, and then it goes back to the initial comment of we play people out of position, we lose a bit or we lose a step of this isn't exactly what they were meant to do, and square peg round hole, and does it work? So I hope that they can get on the pitch at the same time, because I think they're both capable of doing so.
I'm gonna start mine by saying I'm not ripping on Chilwell here. I'm not saying I don't like Chilwell. I think Chilwell's great. I think he's a better finisher than Cucurella, but I think Cucurella excels at more things than Chilwell does. And I said this when we first signed him, that this was a statement signing. This isn't signing a backup. No way in hell is Cucurella for that money being a backup. The fact that Boley and Tuchel paid that much money for a dynamic left wing back means that he's going to get significant time, and I think he's the starter. With the injury that Chills had, there's no guarantee that he's going to come back the same guy that he was. With those long-term injuries, you just don't know. And so, maybe was Cucurella kind of an insurance policy? Maybe. But I think he's a little bit more dynamic. I think he's a little bit quicker, getting back when necessary. And I think he distributes the ball a lot better than Chilwell does. I think the only place that Chilwell really exceeds, well, there's 2. One is his height. Cucurella is what, like 5'2", and
On a good day.
Yeah, with the hair 5'3".
Yeah,
hair.
But and also his finishing. We saw today Cucurella can't finish worth shit. But we shouldn't be relying. Unfortunately, we do, but we shouldn't be relying on our wingbacks scoring 20 goals a season. Cucurella is your starting left wing back. Chills is going to have to fight for that place back. I know in American sports, especially, you want to talk about, you shouldn't lose your spot because of an injury. Chills has. Had he not gotten injured, we probably don't buy Cucurella. But he did, and now we have another great player. What was that?
5'8", by the way.
Again, on a good day.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll see how that goes. That's going to be an interesting storyline to follow all year. Especially when we're going to be fighting a relegation battle, it's going to be nice to have a nice positive spin to put on each pod, right?
It kind of goes, though, with we play a lot of matches. We're 3 in. It's not going to be 1 a week for very long, and we'll be able to rotate people in. It's just going to be a matter of finding a consistent first team lineup and what that looks like, and how people can kind of play in with that second lineup, and how we can kind of mesh the 2 together and make everything balanced while keeping everyone and their egos happy. Always the fun problem.
It's the problem that City and Liverpool have. Keep everybody happy. Fortunately, we just have that at one position, and it's not striker. All right. Well, let's turn to the last topic here. A little open-ended question, because it's been a rough start. You look back, even going to preseason, rough start to the season. How do you fix it? what is everybody give a top three. We'll go with that. We'll count down a top three here of what can Chelsea do to turn this season around, even though we're only 3/38 the way through it.
Hans, I'm gonna throw it back to you because Matt and I led off the topic so far today. So we're gonna throw it back to you and let you kick this one off.
Okay.
He's got 17 topics. He's trying to figure out the top three.
I know, I gotta do some maths. Number one, we need a number 8. If Kovacic is going to be out long term, we need a number 8. That's what would have fixed today specific. But maybe even Conte would have fixed that a little bit, but Gallagher looks like he's never played in the Premier League before. Jorginho was just, we know what to expect out of Jorginho. Matt, bite your tongue there.
I'm calm.
There we go. Ruben Loftus-Cheek was playing out of position. Like, Tuchel can talk about all he wants. We have talent at midfield, but until we start playing like we have talent in midfield, we need a number 8 to go box to box. So that's my number 3. Number 2, we need a number 9 so we can stop playing these guys out of position. We've talked about that in depth in this pod already. Get me a 20-goal scorer. And number 1, I'm just going to say it. Tuchel's got to change systems or he's out.
Okay. Really throwing gas on that fire, aren't you?
Drop that bomb on you guys.
Yeah.
I'll pick it up from there on that lovely note with where you left off, which is I think Tuchel needs to stop making excuses. That's really what like drives me crazy about him is I don't blame the fucking bus ride that you had to take. It's a football match. You put the ball in the net, you score. That's what we're talking about here. The fact that the coaches had to take a bus ride to Leeds, who cares, man? Don't use that as an excuse. I much prefer when managers take ownership of the loss. They talk about it straightforward. They say, look, we weren't our best today. Leeds outplayed us, which they did, right? Like Leeds outworked us. They outplayed us. They were hungrier. They were more energetic. They pressed us and they put our guys under a ton of pressure and they forced us into dumb errors. Like that's the storyline of the game. And it only took 2 pressing moments to kind of make it happen. The first with Aronson, and then the second one, they won a free kick and they executed it, pretty perfectly. It was kind of an indefensible free kick. So those 2 moments threw the game balance off. And so Tuchel needs to stop making excuses. I also think we need to be more flexible in our system. Another topic that we talked about earlier, but we need to figure out what our best system is for the players that we have. And instead of fitting the wrong people into the right system, we need to be more adept in making changes on the fly of what our preferred system looks like for our personnel. And then like sign Lewandowski when he can't be registered by Barcelona or something like that. I don't know. I'm gonna hang on to the one that I want most, which is I want Olivier Giroud back. I'm just gonna keep saying that until it happens. I need a clinical goal scorer. I want a dude that's just hungry to score goals, and he's the last person on our team that's been that. Find me someone else. I don't care. Find me a dude that's hungry to score goals and who wants to be in the box at all times. In the choppy, weird, broken play, ball comes to your feet and you get something on it, because that's how goals get scored in the Premier League. They're not the cleanest. They're kind of ugly, and that's what you got to be and what you got to do. You got to be a dog and you got to be hungry for goals. Find me that guy.
So, but before we go to Matt here, Parker, just to follow up on that last one, would Giroud be your number 1 target, or is there somebody who you have in mind?
Giroud's my number 1 target today. I don't know who that guy is. Like, I know they're few and far between. I don't know if Aubameyang is that guy. I'm saying Giroud because I know Giroud. Like, obviously, I want the path of Arsenal, we never won anything, then come to Chelsea and win stuff. Like I want that to come true with Aubameyang if that does happen. But I know that it might not. I'm saying Giroud because I know he can do it. And Matt, one of my favorite quotes that you've ever said, no, legitimately, is if you put Olivier Giroud's goal highlights for his entire career and you show somebody in the future, 20 years, they will think that Olivier Giroud was one of the best strikers on the planet, one of the best players in the world, unquestioned, because Olivier Giroud has scored some of like the greatest goals in Premier League history. He really has. Like he's got like the resume and the backing to do so, and he has done it in the past. He scored a lot of great goals for Chelsea. I mean, looking back on it, he was more positive than he was negative. Now he wasn't always positive, sure, but no one is. And so he's the first one that comes to my mind, Collins. But if you find me the next Olivier Giroud, I'll take it.
Jovic. Matt, go ahead.
Oh my God, I'm gonna slap you.
I will smack your face off your face.
Oh my God. All right. So my 3 things. 1, no more back passes to Mendy. That's number 1.
How about no more Mendy?
I wouldn't go that far yet. He does make some pretty damn good saves. I'll save Kepa for penalties. No more back passing to Mendy. I barely trust him with a goal kick, much less in play. Second thing is Reece James needs to be wide. He is not a center back in the 3-5-2 system or whatever system that we're running. He needs to be out wide. He needs to be making those bombing runs up and down the pitch. He delivers the best service on our team. Like, you can't have him in that center back position. It's absolutely pointless. Third thing, we need people in the box in the worst way. What I mean by that is every single time that we make these bombing runs, whether it's Cucurella, James, Dave, Chills, whoever, there's one person in the box usually, maybe 2. That one person in the box, all 5'6" of Raheem Sterling, and that's your target man going up against center backs. That's not going to work. I was watching other matches today, and you have 3, 4 people in the box looking to score. Right now, we just have people looking to try and get a touch, a headed deflection, if anything. But we're hitting our smallest guys on the pitch, or we're trying to hit them. Why? When we have all these people and we're saying, yeah, we're going to be forward, blah, blah, blah. Why are we going at the smallest targets that we have available? 3B, my other thing, because I just thought of this as I was talking. Oh my God. So for the life of me, I don't understand this. I wish I did. Like, I really, truly wish that I understood this. Why in the hell are we constantly unable to break a press? Why? Against Tottenham, we look great. That was probably the best press I've ever seen out of our team ever. And then this week, we don't press. We get press, which we knew was coming from a Leeds team that's always energetic, very pacey. They press the ball high. Why is it that every other team breaking our press is not a problem, but for us, it looks like we've never seen a press before in our life? I don't understand it. I don't get why we can't break a press, why we're always just fumbling around and essentially giving the ball back to Mendy to try and be Manuel Neuer, who at this point looked like he can't even lace up Neuer's boots. Why are we doing that? Why is that such a difficult thing to actually grasp the concept of? Pass the ball quick, get in positions. Collins, to your point, that's what Jorginho's there for, right? He's supposed to be that gap. I'm not placing blame on him. I'm really not. But he's supposed to be that link up or whatever. Clearly, it's not working. Clearly, you need somebody else or something has to happen with the defense. When Thiago Silva is our best distributor of the ball, that really shouldn't happen. But it seems to be happening more and more frequently. And I just can't wrap my head around that whole idea.
I was thinking about that earlier, Matt, and I don't know what it was that we couldn't work out of that press. It just seemed like it was executed somewhat perfectly against us, where we couldn't get out, because every time it made it into the midfield, either Gallagher or Jorginho, they were swarmed and they couldn't turn, they couldn't get away. And, most of the time they were kind of getting like nicked off the ball as it was coming to them, or, first touch, and it was kind of just like, squashed at the point. And so to me, that means we need to do more vertical, more over the top, more deep, because that wasn't working at all. And that's where I think we just kind of get out of our depths a little bit, where we're not used to playing out like that. And because that's the only solution. If they play everybody super forward, then you have to go over the top, right? Like that's the only way to do it.
Yeah, but like this isn't a one-time thing. This isn't like Jesse Marsh is the world's greatest manager for figuring this out. This has been, and this isn't even it's not even a Tuchel issue. This is a Chelsea issue. I don't know if there is a fix other than, I mean, we've got a new owner. We're going to have a new director of football, and I'm going to say it again. Maybe we need someone a little more flexible managing the team. Somebody who can adjust his game plan. And not just at halftime.
That's fair.
While you're shitting on Tuchel, I will just throw this really quickly into the mix, because the one thing I really got pissed off about was the fact that Ziyech got brought on. The one dude that has been linked away from our club probably more than almost anyone at this stage. Why do you put him on the pitch? I don't see what he brings to the table. I don't like it. Yes, Matt?
Who else did we have? Literally, who else do we have? And when he came on the pitch, he looked more lively than Mount and Kai combined.
I was buzzing, and I would have looked more lively than those two.
Yeah.
Like that.
That's what I'm saying. But who else? Who else are you going to throw out there? You don't have Harvey Vale for whatever reason, which I'm still upset about. But you have to bring on something different. You need somebody who's more creative than what Kai and Mace were doing. I understand that he's going to be leaving the club. I get that. Sure. But you didn't have anybody else.
Why not bring on the kid?
Yeah, give me Carney.
Why not?
Guy's going to be a star. Let him play. You're down 3-0. What does it matter?
You're down 3-0, and you would rather put on a guy that's going to leave next week. Like, why not get the kid his first start in a game that means nothing at this point? What does it matter?
I find it, so one other just kind of subplot to that. I find it very telling that Tuchel would put on Ziyech over Cho. I kind of giggled on the inside about that one.
Cho's another guy with his foot out the door, though. If you're believing the reports you're seeing that over the last couple of weeks, he's going out.
He can go to MLS if he wants to, because I think that's the only place where he's actually going to thrive. But I don't have an issue with it. I really don't. Right? We watch the game, try to change something. You bring on two dynamic players, regardless of if they're leaving the club or not, right? You can make the same argument for Pulisic, right? He's been tied to Man U. You can make the exact same argument for him. Okay, so if you don't bring on Pulisic and Ziyech, then you're going to bring on Cho, another person who is going to be out the door. You bring on a kid who's just signed, probably still is getting used to the system. You're not going to bring on Trev. Ampadu, I don't think would have done anything in that the front half of the pitch. I don't think that he would have slotted in well there. So at that point, who else do you have? You're going to throw Kepa out there? At this point, why the hell not? But, Mr. Manager 2.0. Like, I'm not upset about it. Like, they're still on the team. They're still healthy. So throw them out there.
So, but before I get into my point on it, Parker, you want to read the most recent comment in the chat? Because it's gold. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Hawks 182 for hanging out with us live on Twitch. I appreciate it and appreciate the interaction. Jesse Marsh is a narc. He was the kid in class who reminded the teacher about the homework.
Just the way
the
way he refused to sit on the bench just reminded me of, like, you get that one teacher, that one kid who's always got to like turn the chair around and like sit backwards on it. Like, stop trying so hard. And like, we're all from Wisconsin, and I watched today's match and I'm like, I fucking hate this guy. This is the most Racine thing I've ever seen. Nothing against Racine, but kind of some things against Racine.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
I enjoyed it. I mean, I'm all about shithousery, right? Like, I enjoyed it, and obviously the comments before the match, like, Tuchel's going to be on the bench even though he got a red card. Like, that whole thing, I'm sure that stemmed a lot of it. So I don't blame him. It is what it is. Like, and you have to take it from, so if you strip away the Chelsea fandom, you look at it from the U.S. men's national team perspective. You have an American coach in the Premier League. You have two American players in the Premier League. From that side of things, it's a positive. And right now, that's the only positive I could find out of today's game. So I'm just going to roll with that. But again, if you strip away Chelsea, you got to at least love it for that part of it as a true U.S. soccer fan.
It was kind of funny watching Pulisic go up against Adams. Like, never really did I think that would be something I'd be watching in the Premier League. So, to your point, Matt, that was fun.
Nah, screw America. I'm moving to Canada.
Fair enough.
I forgot what my point was to rebuttal against you. I don't even remember what your point was. So we'll just skip that.
We were talking about Ziyech and Pulisic coming on, and I said, yeah. So yeah, I'll spark up the memory. Go ahead.
I was just gonna shit on Tuchel some more.
No, you got plenty of that on Pod After Dark. It's going to be
I'll leave
the Colin special.
Oh, those are good ones. I'll leave you with this one point, because this is a thought out point. This isn't just me rambling here. You talk about Pulisic has a foot out the door. Cho has a foot out the door. Ziyech has a foot out the door. He brought on Pulisic. He brought on Ziyech. Dave at one point had a foot out the door. Maybe Tuchel's just an idiot. Why do you put those guys in your squad? If they are truly being sold, being loaned, what is the point of having them in your squad? What is the point of putting, I guess maybe, numbers wise, putting them in your squad, but to have your whole bench be guys, Kepa has his foot out the door, another guy. What is the point of having your whole bench being guys who are about to be sold in the next week or so? What is the point of putting these guys on when you're losing 3-0 or when you're losing 2-0 and you want to get back into the game? Why not give it to somebody who's hungry? Why not give it to somebody who is looking for their first appearance for Chelsea, or is looking to score that first goal, regardless of age? Carney's 18. I still don't know how to pronounce his last name, so I'm gonna call him Carney Chumbawamba. But the guy's 18. He made 13 appearances in the Premier League last year for Villa, so he's got the Premier League experience. Give him a trot out. What is the harm in that? You said Harvey Vale. I will agree with you. Put Harvey Vale in there. If you're not high on Cho, if you're not high on Pulisic, which apparently he's not, if you're not high on Ziyech because he's out the door, put Harvey Vale in the lineup. What harm does it do? If anything, you have a guy at the end of the bench who wants to be there. And I know, as a coach, granted it's in volleyball, but I want the people who want to be there. If I have a guy who's a guy or a girl, I coach both, who's talented but doesn't want to be there, they can stay at the end of the bench. They can stay home from a tournament for all I care. Give me the player who wants to be there. Okay.
No, I
I'm
completely get it. No, I completely understand where you're coming from for obvious reasons. Like I get it. It, to me, at this point in the Premier League season, right? And Parker, I think you were the one that brought it up last year. It doesn't matter when you get the points, but the points are points. Like, every game matters. So regardless of if you're down 2-0, 3-0, you still want to be able to put people out there that can make that difference. Granted, I understand that they're leaving. I completely get that. But they're probably more likely to make a significant impact than, the inexperienced kid at the end of the bench or something like that. So that's my only, I guess, defense of Tuchel to that standpoint. Now, would I like to see a bunch of kids on the bench? Absolutely. I would absolutely love to see that. Give me, Lewis Hall. I would have been fine seeing Ampadu out there. I would have been perfectly happy seeing Trev go out there. I don't know why he's not starting in that right center back position and why we're wasting Reece James in that spot. I don't understand that. But then again, you're in the Premier League, right? You need to put your best team out there. And I think that the people on the bench for today's game, regardless of what their contract situation is or transfer situation, those were the best options available, and he used them to try and do something different and change the game in a positive fashion. That's how I look at it.
All right. So if you enjoy our little debate on Tommy T here, check out Pod After Dark this week, because we're coming up on the hour mark. So I'm just cut it here. Sorry, Parker, if you had anything to say. All right. So we'll close out here with our polls. We do 2 polls after every match. We do our traditional man of the match poll, and we also do one creatively named by Parker himself, the man of the get the fuck out of here award, which is the worst part of the match. Usually that one has nothing to do with Chelsea, but this week it has everything to do with Chelsea. So let's start with positives. Man of the match. Our 4 options throughout there: Cucurella, Reece James, Raheem Sterling, and a write-in ballot. We didn't have a 4th. Who are you guys putting in as your man of the match?
Parks.
Reece James.
Same.
I had Cucurella, though apparently I forgot to vote for the poll because he got 0% of the vote. You guys are spot on here. 63% for Reece James. Raheem Sterling coming in at second at 37. No one voting others. So congrats to you guys on that one. The more interesting of the 2 polls, though, the man of the get the fuck out of here. We had Conor Gallagher, Edward Mendy. I'm going to replace, we had RLC on there. He got no votes, but we did have a write-in for Tuchel. So Gallagher, Mendy, Tuchel, and Kai Havertz. What are you guys doing there?
All of the above. Is that an option? Go ahead, Parks.
The only one of those players that had an assist, which is Edward Mendy. He gets my man of the get the fuck out of there or award.
While you're thinking, I had
it's like picking the worst of the worst, right? Everybody was bad. You could have pulled a name out of a hat and you probably would have gotten a vote for it. I mean, yeah, Mendy, but I had to lean towards Gallagher. I just saw pure chaos out of him, and not controlled chaos, like just chaos. So yeah, that's my pick.
That's another thing I think we should talk about on Pod After Dark is Conor Gallagher. There seems to be a lot of people in different directions on that one. So I'm interested to get your guys' take. So another preview for everybody. Check out Pod After Dark this week. Just to get you the poll numbers, Edward Mendy, more than 50% is your man to get the fuck out of here. Congratulations to him. Boys, that wraps up another stellar episode of the Flag Stays Down podcast. But before we cheers, let's pay some bills here. If you've enjoyed what you've watched today on Twitch, give us a follow there. We'll be here every Sunday evening at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you're busy on Sundays or if you like to listen to the podcast, you can catch us anywhere you get those podcasts. All we ask is that if you're on Spotify or Apple, that you subscribe, rate, and review. If you're into the whole social media thing with the young kids, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Flag Stays Down Pod. Clearly, I'm not one of those young kids. But you can follow me. You can follow me at Comiskey North. You can follow Parker at DJ Parkour, and Matt is at Matus Lee. If you have any questions you want addressed on air, we're always happy to read those. So just like Mr. Hawks today, come and join us on the chat. Boys, that's all I got. Let's toast to this week being over. How about that?
All about that.
Looking forward to the Leicester.
I'm all potted out.